Hey Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome back to Let's Play Civilization 6 as Greece, where we're going for our diplomacy victory. Now we're currently working on the PETRA Palace, and I think our next and second to last major wonder is going to be the Statue of Liberty, and that's going to require quite a bit of prep work over in Knossos. So I think we almost certainly want to try to pick up shipyards for mass production, and that also neatly feeds us into industrialization. Doesn't quite feed us into sanitation, it does take us a bit away from that, but I do think shipyards are going to be an important part of picking up the Statue of Liberty in Knossos, so that's the direction I've opted to go in. I'm also heavily trying to get this city to grow quite a bit. Sweet, we got our first horseman, and with that horseman we have indeed secured ourselves a second golden age, which will make my life quite easy. I think I would like to get the pagoda in Ephesus. We have basically everything that we need in here, and you know, there's even a consideration here. Instead of doing all the chopping, if I were to go for Chichen Itza, that has a lot of merit. Because I'm not too far off jungle watermills, and this represents like a huge amount of culture and production here. So I could maybe spend like 5 turns on something other than this, and instead move Magnus over to Sparta, where we can start doing chopping. I think I'll give the old college try on the Chichen Itza there, because I think it makes the game a little bit more interesting if you go for these kind of wonders. At least that's just my take. Awesome, we have our next great writer, Geoffrey Chaucer, and I have room for him over in Mycenae, so I'll pop him over there to start filling out that thing. Shrine up at Ephesus, let's grab that temple. We're also 1 turn away from the next diplomatic congress thing, so now might be a good turn to like buy a bit of diplo favor from people or something of that nature to like increase the chance that I have of getting the option I want. But I think with this amount of diplomatic favor, I'm kind of ahead of everyone anyway, so I feel like I might be able to swing this no matter what they do. Maybe that's arrogance, who knows? Maybe that'll turn out to be a bad decision, but we'll give it our best shot. Time to get our very first fishery in Knossos. The nice thing about that is it's a ton of food and +1 production on these tiles. Okay, so typically the AI will vote for things in the city center, so I feel pretty safe putting like 3 votes in there, and then they'll also typically vote for like ranged combat units, but I'm going to put more votes in there because I feel a little bit less confident about that. So you know what, I'll actually split it 5 and 5, so this is 2 diplomatic victory points if I can get this to pass, and it looks like indeed I did. Most of the AI chose city centers. There's a couple of campuses and holy sites are there to keep in mind, and also most people actually went with melee units, interestingly enough, this game, and I actually brute forced this vote thanks to just 1 other person voting ranged. If he had voted melee, I would have lost that. So that's pretty big. We're at 5 out of 20 diplomatic victory points right now, which feels amazing. Let's cannibalize a couple of hills in Knossos. The city's a little bit more important than Mycenae, because it needs to hit certain growth and production milestones in order to build the Statue of Liberty for me. Chichen Itza is unlocked. Let's go into Ephesus and place that. It's only a 24 turn build, and I think the best place to put it is right beside this theater square, so I'll plop you down. Maybe I'll hold some room next to the city center. Pop you down next to that. I will finish the temple, because that represents a good amount of faith. It's only 2 turns off Chichen. May as well grab Ritual now, because I'm starting to get to the point where I have some commercial hubs online, and the Gilded Vault will be useful, and I'd like to be ready for indoctrination in a couple of eras, especially for that extra wildcard slot. I think a city by this oasis is fine, and I'd like to also be in range of these volcano tiles, and just to generally fill in this land to prevent anyone from like aggressively forward settling me. I think that's a perfectly reasonable spot to throw down a city. Chop here to finish the amphitheater, pop in another great work of writing, then come into Sparta. Oh, I need to double check that I'm still suzerain of Anshan, and I am, which is awesome. What's our next move in Sparta? I don't really have a huge amount to do in here, but I have a ton of chops available. This could potentially be another good industrial zone city, but I would need to force the city to grow, and that would almost certainly require an aqueduct of some kind. Let's do an aqueduct here on the floodplains, and then we'll chop it out to instantly build it, which will give the city enough housing, in theory, to be forced using marsh chops and stuff like that to be able to place a third district. And then I think that will be a commercial hub. Yeah, I like the idea of getting the commercial hub in here. I need more trade routes. It'll get me more envoys. It all works out very nicely together. Let's pop a city down here because it has a very, very nice harbor. Or not a harbor, sorry, holy site right here on the sheep. And I can harvest that to force the city to grow. It doesn't have a good harbor, but I don't mind that so much because I could still get like a little harbor triangle thing in here. So yeah, I'll accept this. I'll probably chop the sheep. I'll get started on the harbor first. Buy the monument for, you know, tile expansion, and then go for a granary to get population. Let's continue to force growth onto Sparta, because I'd like to get the 10 population in here to place another district. So if I can harvest things that provide food, I'll get there quick enough, and then we'll like refill with farms in between these two rivers to give the city actual positive food. Right now, it's got a massive penalty to its growth because of the housing problem, but that won't be a problem forever. It's an easily solved problem. Swap the cattle over to Olympia, and then immediately harvest the cattle to allow the city to grow, which will shave a few turns off of Petra, especially when the city grows again next turn. And then I'll swing this builder down here to pop down a couple of extra mines. Buttress gives us access to dams, and I think there was at least one dam I wanted to place this game. Although, a bit of a problem is that I haven't actually harvested that wheat yet, and harvesting wheat is actually super worth. So once I get that harvest, I'll get that dam placed. I think one more harvest will get the city to 10 population, and then we need to start thinking about actually growing the city again with things like farms to keep the city from going under in terms of total food. Harvest in Pharsalos to force the city to grow to 3 population, allow us to work some more good tiles. And we should have enough faith now to purchase another settler in Sparta. I'm purchasing where Magnus is so I can save population. And I think I've got like a good few more cities I want to get placed. But I really need to get my faith income up to be able to build them fast enough. We did meet Brazil, which is cool. I should really make sure I send delegations to people as I meet them and get open borders with them also the first turn that I meet them, because open borders gives you like a positive relationship thing, and also get as many friendships as possible. Send as many delegations, all that sort of stuff. It's going to be super, super helpful. I wonder if Shaka will take a military alliance. I think they will. They will take a military alliance and then an economic alliance with Hojo. Yeah, I like it. I like it. We've got 4 alliances right now, which is bringing in 4 diplomatic favor, and that'll hopefully get people to send me more delegations, which should again get me up in terms of my diplomatic favor. Diplomatic service is available. I totally forgot to save up money for this, but I do have Visselbanken now, which is huge, as well as the ability to build a spy. So those are going to be important things. Let's get rid of Diplomatic League. We'll plug in Visselbanken. That'll allow us to sort of pick and choose where we want to grow and produce in cities by trading with city-state allies. I think I can get rid of colonization in favor of serfdom. And then Republican Legacy would give me 7 housing and 7 amenities across my empire. And I'm not seeing... I'm not seeing any other thing in here that's like super worth it. Like +5 production from a single industrial zone, whoop-de-doo. It's cool, but I don't know. It would be nice to plug in Machiavellianism, but I think this is the best government that I can form right now in terms of total yields. But diplomatic service does come with the Chancery, and that's about 1,160 gold. I need to get that as soon as possible. Now let's beeline for the Statue of Liberty. It's only 3 civics away. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So we'll get there very, very quick. I'm also going to be getting a shipyard at Knossos and then positioning 2 or 3 builders to be able to chop all these tiles and purchase them. That might be tough to pull off with the current state of my income, but I'm still like chopping things out and getting progress, placing holy sites with reasonable adjacency, and so on and so forth. So, you know, I'm not too worried at the moment. We got our commercial hub in Sparta. Let's get the market because the +1 trade route is a big deal. Down to 14 turns on Petra, and I think if I were to place 1 more mine in here, I could get that down to maybe 10. Harvest the wheat in Corinth to boost the population, then immediately place the dam. We will get the holy site finished very soon, which is cool because that's going to provide us with a lot of adjacency. Although I do need to start an Inquisition because there's a little bit of religious nonsense going on here. I think someone has been converting some of my newly founded cities. So I'll need like an Inquisitor or 2 just to go around and nip that in the bud. Strangely enough, Australia is denouncing me, which is not what I was expecting at all. You don't have to be friends with every single person in the game to win a diplomacy victory. It does help, but it's not necessary. Lighthouse and Knossos, very, very cool. Looks like Great Lighthouse and Colossus weren't actually picked up this game. I would kind of want to get the Colossus if I could, and maybe Mycenae is the spot to give that a try. It's a 37 turn build, but I'm not really doing anything else in this city after the lighthouse, aside from a shipyard. Nice one, we got our lighthouse in here. We'll get a trader to try and boost this city up as well, although I may send that trader over to one of my other coastal cities to try and help them along. Weirdly enough, there was a little tribal village tucked away down here, and it contained the knowledge of ironworking. That's pretty interesting. It's kind of rare that you see that kind of thing, where there's a tribal village in like a pretty obviously... like in a pretty obvious location, at least especially this late into the game. I usually expect them all to be gone by now. Just 10 turns until we have the PETRA Palace right now. Looking forward to that one. Another dedication, and this time we'll be taking monumentality again. I don't know how many more settlers it's worth purchasing at this stage, because builders are so cheap and in such high demand that the value I get from them is kind of ridiculous. And for me to avoid them just really doesn't make sense, when I could be like chain purchasing builders in Knossos, for example, and just sending them out places. Yeah, I really don't see it making sense. I'm also going to get a trader in here because I want this city to be strong. Friendship ran out with Egypt. Let's get a resident embassy. We'll also open up our borders mutually. There's a bit of a weird like diplomacy bug at the moment that requires you to do only one half of a trade deal at a time, but it kind of works. Rumi, the great writer, has been claimed. Again, I'm having a hard time keeping up with the amount of room I need for these great works of writings. I'm getting an absurd amount of science from them, though. Like, if we look in here, we're getting 18 science currently, as it stands, from all of these great works, which is crazy. I think Mexico City's a good candidate for a trade route here. I don't have a huge amount of envoys with them, and nobody is suzerain, so that's definitely someone I'm going to start making friends with. Plus, it's an industrial city-state, and they have some pretty nice benefits in the form of giving you extra production. Not to mention their ability, the suzerain bonus, gives your regional effects on your industrial zones a ton of range. Brilliant. We have access to shipyards for mass production. Let's talk to Christina, get a resident embassy, and then maybe a cultural alliance. Boom. Very nice. We're making 14 diplomatic favor per turn, which isn't bad for this stage. Let's pop down a diamond industry in Mycenae. Plan is to eventually turn this into a massive gold production facility. Let's also quickly grab cartography for ocean navigation and the +2 gold from fishing boats. Otherwise, we're going to beeline banks and the Orzgahaz, because that's going to be a huge boost for our diplomatic favor. We've got the market in Sparta. What's going to be our 4th district? I think it's an industrial zone right there, yeah. Eventually we'll want that. Do we want it right now, or do we want to wait on that front? I need to find somewhere to build a spy and stuff like that. And I need more traders. I need so much more stuff, and a lot of my cities are just busy. So this might have to be a city that sacrifices itself slightly to get me that trader. Let's reassign Magnus to Knossos in preparation for the Eiffel Tower in 10 turns. And we'll just throw Liang into... Where will we put Liang? I guess Sparta is fine on a temporary basis. We've got about 17 turns left on this era, so it would be a good idea to go through my cities and make sure I pick up all of the things that are in my city state, or not my city center, like monuments, because I build them twice as fast. So not building them feels like a mistake to me, considering just how quickly we can grab them. Let's trade with Zanzibar now too. There's a chance that Egypt tries to kill them because their health looks low. I'm hoping that this was just the volcano doing damage to the city. Boom. Cartography, that'll boost my gold income. And I think I'm going to take suzerainty of Zanzibar here for the extra amenities. That's like 12 amenities across my empire, which should be a huge boost thanks to suzerainty. And it'll also make that trade route that I just sent to Zanzibar much better. Speaking of envoys, are there any envoys hiding in the civic tree? Oh, you know what? I'm going to pick up naval tradition for 2 turns. For 2 reasons. First of all, to get that envoy, and then second of all, to get that 100% harbor adjacency bonus. Lovely. There's the harbor adjacency card. That's worth 11 gold at the moment. So what would I like to lose? Really don't want to lose any of these at the second. So I might have to wait till PETRA Palace is finished so I can move Vissel Banking up a tile and then plug in harbor adjacency. It'll probably matter more once I actually finish my shipyards. Ooh, very nice. Giovanni de Medici is going to be super helpful because he'll instantly build a bank and a market somewhere. Just trying to think of where do I have like a fresh Just a fresh commercial hub. Probably going to be Mycenae is where I get my next fresh commercial hub in about 14 turns. So I'll pop him over there to be ready to boost that. Boom. Envoy in Mexico City. Suzerainty. Lovely. Perfect. It gives me a lot more scouting information. I'm still pulling in only 16 diplomatic favor points per turn, which is a bit less than I would have hoped. You know, if we're being realistic here, that's a bit less. It's a bit less than I thought we would have at this point. I do have enough gold now to come over to Sparta, actually, and pick up the Chancery. It's only worth +3 science right now, but those extra envoy points are massive. Let's pop a trade route to Kabul. That will give us our 6th envoy in Kabul, which should in theory mean if we came into Sparta and tried to build a unit, our production would actually go up. There's a way to make it refresh. Yeah, it's like +5 towards units. I think that's it right there, which is pretty cool, right? Okay, cool. We finished the shipyard in Mycenae, which means it no longer needs these high production mine tiles, and we can give those on over to Knossos and then lock them all in to boost the city's production up to a pretty good level. And we'll finish our own shipyard in about 10 turns. I'd love to trade with Geneva if I could. I wonder if I can reach that from Knossos. Let's grab another trader in here. The Potato McWhiskey Palace is complete, netting us another diplomatic victory point and a diplomatic policy slot. And we also have banking now too, so the Gilded Vault is an option. And I can come up into my policy here, put Vissel banking into my diplomatic policies, and then triangular trade. God damn, I never realized how good that is. I feel like it's gotta be naval infrastructure though, because this is 1-to-1 production and gold. It just hasn't quite updated yet. Let's chop in Knossos to finish that shipyard a little bit closer to the Statue of Liberty. And we can actually trade with Geneva, which is amazing because that's going to get us our first envoy in there. And we can start filling them out as well. Oh, and we finished Petra on the same turn too. That's or rather the turn after we finished Patala Palace. I'm getting all my favorite wonders. Look at that. Look at this city, man. Oh my sweet goodness. Oh, this is a beautiful city. Hang on, let's make sure we give all the grassland tiles to the city that's going to struggle. Olympia is just going to crush it, dude. It's a 26 production city with a single wonder. Like, that's all it needed. Yeah, I feel like we pop this down right here after the watermill and thing are done, and then maybe we crank out a couple builders in here to spread the love and kind of produce and stuff like that. All right, cool. So since Patala Palace is finished, I got to think about what my next thing is. I believe we talked about foreign ministry, but I never got around to it because Patala Palace came up. And I'm liking the extra 3 diplomatic favor. I do feel like intelligence agency would work a little bit better for me this game, mainly because I'm going for the Elza Minerva. And next era, I will have +2 spy capacity. But honestly, I feel like foreign ministry is fine. Civil engineering is finished. That's a big deal because it means we now get a 30% production boost towards our builder. It's going to be super useful once this golden age is over. Do I want to keep aesthetics? I'm trying to think, is there something else I would like to have plugged in? And I'm not really seeing anything of massive value here. Pretty much everything I have plugged in are all the best things that I have available to me. I could maybe get a ton of amenities with Retainer, but that would require building a relatively large army, which is time spent doing things other than what I'm currently doing rather. Most of my cities are only at +1 amenity anyway, so I don't know if Retainers really makes a difference here. I would need something like natural history to be able to boost that with things like zoos and stuff. And you know what, actually? Thinking about it, I do believe that Ephesus is like a really good candidate city for an entertainment complex because it has a ton of these these jungle tiles in it, and I believe the zoo actually gives you +1 science to each rainforest and marsh tile. So if I could find a tile to throw down a nice entertainment complex, very, very cool. Lovely. There's steam power, and we managed to chop out a shipyard. Now we can begin on the Statue of Liberty. I'll have to buy that tile right there. Boom, Statue of Liberty under construction. It'll take 32 turns, but I should be able to bring down that time. Very nice. Our very, very first great writer or great artist has been found. So we'll want at least 3 of those. We'll want 3 art museums to keep those going. So if I remember correctly, Anshan... Actually, Anshan doesn't give you any science and great works of art. So that's something worth considering. Colonialism is actually great because it gives us +1 production on our fishing boats, and we have a decent number of fishing boats across our empire, so a lot of our cities are going to start getting benefits from that, especially some of these like newer cities that are a little bit weaker on the production side, like over here on this desert stuff. I'm going to buy the workshop in Corinth because I want this city to produce its dam relatively quickly, and I want it to accelerate up into a high production position very, very fast, because I'll need to get the factory up in here and the coal power plant and stuff like that. So the faster I can get this city up online, the better. But now that all the chopping is done in Knossos, let's lock in all of the production tiles that we can, and then focus the city on production. So it's currently making 54 production per turn, which is a 19 turn Statue of Liberty. I think that's pretty respectable. But Magnus is no longer needed here, and I do feel like Pharsalos is a good option. I'm trying to find somewhere that has like a reasonable number of chops, and not a lot of my cities do, so I think Pharsalos is the place to go. Boom, colonialism, done. Checking our continents, all of our cities are on the original continent. If we could get some, if we had maybe settled our capital like on Kernerland, and then been able to settle the rest of our empire over here on the Atlantic, that colonialism card would have been huge. Absolutely massive for us, because it's a 25% gold and 10% production boost. Unfortunately, things didn't work out that way. I would like to also get Big Ben this game. I think that's something it would be really, really cool to get my hands on. And if I was going to build it somewhere, it might actually be, well, Sparta might not be a good candidate. Ephesus seems like it might be a good place. So I'm thinking Big Ben in here. It would be really cool to have another economic policy card, because we're getting massive value from those at the moment. Do I need an art museum? I'm kind of tempted to build settlers. That said, the Gilded Vault is 9 gold per turn, and a little bit of culture too, like 3 culture in here. This could also be a city worthy of spamming builders now that we have it up to a reasonable level. That said, I also need to get the industrial zone in here, so I think we'll delay builder spam for another couple of turns. We could always just purchase builders in here. We have like 273 gold per turn, which is crazy. Neat, we got the foreign ministry. We're up to 21 diplomatic favor per turn. Speaking of my capital, I think a workshop would be nice for the extra great engineer points. That's mainly all I wanted for, because there's actually, man, did I get skipped over for a great engineer? No, but there could be potentially really, really good great engineers hiding here. We kind of skipped the medieval era for great engineers, really. Yeah, so we got, Imhotep was the only one who showed up. We missed Isidore, and we missed James of St. George, I think. And it's not ideal to skip great people because your era rolls over or whatever. So if we can get those great engineer points, I think things are looking up Millhouse. Ooh, I never even considered that this could be a mausoleum game. That's an interesting thought. That would significantly boost how good my engineers are. I mean, it's always a mausoleum game. And this isn't a terrible city to do it in. It has a decent amount of coastline. If I had been really thinking, I for sure would have like put my Statue of Liberty there, then put my sorry, not my Statue of Liberty. I would have put my harbor here, right on that tile, and then I would have put my mausoleum like somewhere between. Or maybe it would be like, Acropolis there, and then mausoleum here. I'll just put pyramids, but I would have done something more like this, and then maybe a commercial hub or something. But yeah, if I had been thinking that out, because this city's working on a lot of water tiles in the long run, so it would have been a good place for the mausoleum. Whereas Argos has like really, really good land, so it's much harder to justify the mausoleum. That said, the extra charge on great engineers, and if I place it here, I get a much better Acropolis in this city. It'll be a +5. So I think I'll take it. Chichen Itza, +2 culture to all rainforest tiles for this city, +1 production to all rainforest tiles for the city, and it must be built in rainforest. Now look at these yields. And we should be ready now, since we have mercantilism. We can actually start slapping down lumber mills all over this place. Wait, did I never actually unlock lumber mills? Hang on, whoops. Oops. Totally forgot to get lumber mills. Sitting on 3 envoys. 6 gold in my chancery seems pretty good in Cahokia, but I would rather try to get suzerainty of people I'm not in range of to trade, like Bologna. Bologna, oh my god, it's like insta-pop all of my envoys into Bologna. +1 great person point of their type for my districts. Yes. Can you say based. Holy crap, Bologna is amazing. Or Bologna, or whatever it's called. Listen, Italian names and me, we don't, you know, they're hard, all right? Listen, life is difficult and it's hard to pronounce things, so, you know, give me a bit of slack. Nice, there's lumber mills. Boom. So we pop down a lumber mill in here and just look at those rainforest tiles. 3 food, 6 production, and 2 culture. Am I getting all 3? Am I getting all 3 of the Petras? Like, I'm getting the desert Petra, I'm getting the rainforest Petra, and then I'm getting the sea Petra, the mausoleum. This is going to be the triple Petra game. That's what the thumbnail needs to be. When I finish the mausoleum, I need to have like a side-by-side of the Petra, a side-by-side of the Chichen Itza, and the mausoleum. Workshop completed. That should have boosted industrialization for me now. So we'll be able to get our factories up very soon. I do want to get Orzagaz first. And I actually have no idea where I'm going to build it. Probably in Athens somewhere. This city just has major production. Let's get ourselves like 3 builders in here while we wait for that Orzagaz. Okay, these can be tough ones. Now, I am sitting on over 500 Diplo favors, so they can be a little bit easier. Who currently has like the dominant religion? It looks like Dido is going to vote heavily for her religion, or else people are going to vote against it. I can never really know how to predict how the world religion vote's going to go. Even though I have like a ton of diplomatic visibility, I just have no idea what these guys are going to vote for. Like, who's the most hated player in the game? It's probably actually Catherine. She's at war with 2 people and denounced by 2 people. And I don't think anyone else comes, like, well, I guess a couple people come close, but nobody has that bad of international diplomacy. So I tell you what, I'll vote up Catherine with half my Diplo favor to get her hit by this. And then I'm gonna vote up Judaism here on the hope that Dido will do the same. Oh my god, a 1,000-year flood, the turn before I finish my goddamn dam. Why is it always that way? There's like, I swear, there must be a line of code somewhere that says like, if dam less than 5 turns from completion, flood river with worst outcome. But yeah, anyway. Public relations has passed, which is awesome. So we got both of our objectives that we wanted, and we voted for both of these, meaning we picked up 2 more diplomatic victory points. Also, I got the ravaged by a natural disaster, so I'm going to add that proposal, which is awesome. Natural history is complete. My river flooded, and I just want to point out, I only just farmed this. I only just put farms down on this thing. And my dam was literally moments from finishing. But then it wiped out all my production and killed a bunch of population. What else was I doing? I was doing something. Oh yeah, I was checking the diplomatic victory screen, right? We're on 8 out of 20, and we're building the Statue of Liberty. That's a pretty big deal. We're very, very close. I really do need more of these emergencies to pass, though. There just haven't been a whole lot of emergencies this game. I'm a little bit baffled by it. I thought we would be able to pick up a few diplomatic victory points, and even, you know, Christina's in the game, although I guess it is only turn 150, and I just put forward my first aid request. Aren't we actually playing in apocalypse mode? Am I crazy? I swear to god, aren't we playing apocalypse mode? Yeah, I feel like this game hasn't been like super apocalypsy, aside from these volcanoes that like erupted a bit. Maybe the map is just too big for it. Anyway, am I going to be going for naturalists this game? Do I have any viable national parks? Let's take a look at the appeal. Not a huge amount of viable spots. These mountains, there is potentially one here, but the appeal is too low. I think if I was to do one, it would be right here. So I think it could be worth it to pick up conservation this game for this national park. Otherwise, though, I don't really see a huge benefit there. I might just head towards ideology. And I should also be ready to purchase my next settler. I had one heading somewhere. There you are. I got 2 more settlers out. And let's go ahead and purchase ourselves a builder with faith. Commercial hub in Mycenae. Boom. Slap down Giovanni de Medici. He'll complete that instantly. And now we can work on the Colossus in here. I think I'm going to nab myself just 2 of these mines, because that'll only slow down the Statue of Liberty by 1 turn, but it will speed up the Colossus by 5 turns. This is a pretty late wonder, like a late Colossus, so I'd be expecting people to be pretty close to completion on that one. Boom, Caravel. Boom, Caravel. I've got to use these to like patrol this area over here, as well as do a little bit of exploration. Although I think I've met every civ in the game, so there's not a huge amount of exploration left for me to do. Oh dear. Let's see if we can't escape from this. Another great rider, and we also got access to what looks to be a great admiral. Let's go ahead and turn this into an armada. Kaboom. We got a Caravel armada, which is kind of absurd. We're also sitting on a governor title We're in the Renaissance era, so we have to wait another era to get indoctrination. In terms of promotions, I feel like Tax Collector is pretty cool on Reina. And then maybe we can finally pick up Pingala, because he's like the meta pick, and just throw him down in like Argos, I think. Although, if we're going to put him anywhere, it should be somewhere that's making a high amount of both science and culture. So let's see, we can organize this by culture. So Ephesus, trying to see, what's like the combined yields here? Looks like Athens is actually the place to put Pingala. And I don't have a governor there, so I'm kind of okay with this. It's a 15% boost to some pretty good yields in here. It looks like the Zulu finally declared war on John Curtin. Let's make sure we vote that up, because I'm at war with John Curtin out of nowhere, which is not what I was expecting. Wait, why did everyone vote this down? Literally, no one ever votes these down. I don't understand. I should have been just getting fed gold at this point. What the hell? I didn't even, like, I could have bought more Diplo favor and, like, forced that vote, but I thought it was such a sure thing. I've literally never seen the AI vote down an aid request like that. That kind of blew my mind. I don't even know what to say. Wait, what card did I lose here? Oh, did I have, what card did I have plugged in here? Harbor Adjacency, Aesthetics, Republican Legacy. I don't know what card I had plugged in here. Oh, I had Urban Planning plugged in. I probably shouldn't have had Urban Planning plugged in this late. To be honest, probably shouldn't have. I could go for Liberalism for those extra amenities. Raj is kind of neat this game. 14 Science, 14 Culture, 14 Faith, and 14 gold. And I am going for like heavy into the suzerainty game. I could also plug in Invention to get a ton of great engineer points and try to secure more of these guys, because I think that's +4, +2, +2. I think that's +8 great engineer points, which is kind of insane actually. So that seems like the best decision for the short term. Maybe possibly even the long term, you never know. Another 1,000-year flood? Really? Another 1,000-year flood? Are you, like, this city has almost no population now. Hang on. Let me take 2 mines here and just try to get this city rebuilt. God, that's painful. Pagoda finished in Ephesus. I don't see much more I need to build in here. Maybe an entertainment complex, but I'm trying to like decide which tile do I give up for the entertainment complex. I guess this mine tile is fine to give up as well. So we'll just throw it on over there. That'll give it a little bit of adjacency to my holy site. And we'll be able to start printing out some more amenities. Finally, the dam is complete in Corinth, which should hopefully prevent any more misadventures in here on the on the flooding front. It is kind of what you sign up for when you're playing a apocalypse game, that things are going to be a little bit chaotic and not always going to work out in your favor. But there is always like a little bit of you that's kind of hopeful that maybe the game will be kind of nice to you this game. I think I went for an economic alliance with Japan, so let's renew that, and then we'll get a military alliance with Shaka. I wonder, can I piece you out yet? No, can't piece you out just yet. I don't want to be at war. It's not my preference. It's not what I wanted to be doing. You know what? I'm sitting on a ton of gold. Let's just buy that workshop in here. Yep. Sitting on a ton of gold. I should probably even purchase some settlers to send over here to the north. Although that said, I could just start purchasing some of these shipyards, which would turn these cities into like overnight powerhouses. And then I can just pop down like acropolises and stuff. But we'll get the shrines first, because the diplomatic favor is starting to become even more important, which is like it was a crazy thing to say in a game where literally the most important thing that I can get is diplomatic favor. The yields over here are pretty crazy, and that's almost certainly down to a bit of generous flooding that's happened here. Well, nothing like good yields to get deleted by a builder. Entertainment complex in Ephesus. I'm really looking forward to getting the zoo for the +1 science on these tiles as well. Promote Pingala. I reckon we could use researcher. I think science is our weakness right now. We're making a ton, and I mean a ton of culture. We're up to 250 culture per turn, but only 150 science, which is a little bit less than what we would like. Cancel the ancient walls. Boom. Chop out that jungle. And then slap down the Acropolis in Pergamon. Chop, chop. Just get our production going in here. I think I have one more chop in here, and then I can move Magnus on to somewhere else. Ooh, very nice. We got the archaeological museum in our capital, so we'll be able to purchase an archaeologist very, very soon. And we can probably just one turn ancient walls in here for something to do, and then build the Orzgaz. Oh my god, I'm gonna Orzgaz. Sorry, that was a very crude joke. Ooh, I'm Orzgazing. I don't look. Listen, it has a very silly name, and it sounds like something dirty. So we're going to meme it. Oh, all right. Nice. We got the mausoleum. That's it, right? This is the triple. Oh, baby, a triple. This is the triple Petra. We have the mausoleum, the Chichen Itza, and the OG Petra itself. I wonder, does the Matterhorn specifically say land combat units? I think it would be hilarious if you could get a tile of the Matterhorn to spawn next to like water and then have like a boat get hill combat strength. I think that would be fucking hilarious. All right, time to Orzagaz in Athens. I'm going to just pop it down right there. Yep, that's fine. 15 turn build time. That'll net us probably right now about 7 Diplo favor, but it'll net us a lot more over the course of the game. But yeah, on the road to 3 Petras, I'm going to call that the end of the episode. I love you all very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.